Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a tool that's one of the most powerful, talked about, and controversial pieces of tech in the cloud-native world, Istio. An engineer once tweeted this, and honestly, it just perfectly captures the love-hate relationship people have with this technology. It's something that inspires both total awe and complete agony. So that kind of begs the question, right? To really get why Istio brings up such strong feelings, we've got to go back to the problem it was built to solve. And that's a problem that came directly out of how complex our modern applications have become. Okay, so what is Istio really? Let's kick things off with the incredible promise it makes to anyone building software today. At its very core, Istio is what we call a service mesh. Now think about it like this. If you've got something like Nginx, that's kind of like the bouncer at the front door of your club, deciding who gets in. Istio is the entire security team inside the club, managing all the chatter between different tables, making sure everything is secure, that you can see what's going on, and that it's all flowing just right. And here is where the magic happens. Istio promises all these incredible features. We're talking top-tier security, deep visibility into your traffic, and you get it all for free. And what that really means is you get it without having to rewrite your applications. This is how you can achieve something called a zero-trust security model. Basically, it means no service trusts any other service by default. Every single conversation is encrypted and verified automatically. That is a massive security boost that your developers don't have to spend a single second building themselves. But, as so many developers have found out the hard way, that amazing promise can come with a pretty painful dose of reality. This quote, it's from a fantastic blog post called Riding the Tiger, and it just hits the nail on the head. There's this feeling out there that Istio has a learning curve that's more like a learning cliff. It is incredibly powerful, for sure, but it's also packed with concepts and jargon that can just feel totally overwhelming at first. And this is really where the pain kicks in. A lot of teams find that the second they step off the well-lit path of the basic Hello World example, the complexity just goes through the roof. Trying to get Istio to play nice with your company's strict security rules or a custom monitoring setup, that can easily burn through weeks of engineering time. And it leads to a lot of frustration and, maybe even a few ulcers. So all this complexity and the sheer amount of resources Istio can eat up, it leads us right into the biggest architectural argument in the entire service mesh world. Which brings us to a really key architectural decision. You can see in the table here that Istio, for the longest time, used what's called the Sidecar model. Just imagine that for every single one of your apps, Istio sticks an extra little container right next to it, a proxy, to handle all of its network traffic. Now, this gives you amazing fine-grained control, which is great, but the big drawback, as you can see, is just how many resources it uses. The alternative, which we're about to get to, is this ambient model, which tries to be way more efficient by using a shared agent. And this chart, wow, it just lays the cost out bare. When you look at benchmarks comparing different service meshes, that old school sidecar model, labeled here Istio Legacy, just devours memory compared to the newer ways of doing things. That resource drain is a huge pain point for any team trying to run lean and efficiently at scale. But then you look at CPU usage, and here's the twist. The newer ambient model, Istio's new direction, is still almost as hungry for CPU as the old sidecar model. And in these tests, it used nearly double the CPU of its competitor, Linkerd. So while it's a big win on the memory front, that CPU cost is still very, very real. So what does this all mean? Well, the really crucial thing here is that Istio had to change. It had to evolve to fix the pain of that sidecar model. So let's take a look at that evolution and what it means for the future. This timeline really shows you the clear path Istio is on. Right after graduating from the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, which is a huge stamp of approval, by the way, the project went all in on developing ambient mode. And with every new release, it's getting more stable, easier to use. It's a direct answer to all the feedback from the community about how costly and complex the sidecars were. The goal here is actually pretty simple. Give everyone the power of Istio without making them pay what people started calling the sidecar tax. By having a shared agent on each server, instead of a personal proxy for every single app, ambient mode makes the whole idea of a service mesh way more efficient and accessible to everybody. But, this whole evolution, it's not just about fixing problems from the past. It's about getting Istio ready for a brand new, incredibly demanding kind of work, artificial intelligence. Now that is a bold claim, but think about it. As more and more companies start using these huge large language models, they're slamming into massive networking challenges. These AI systems need super high throughput and super low latency, and that's a set of problems that a service mesh like Istio is perfectly built to solve. And Istio is already shipping features designed specifically for AI. If you look at the slide, you see things like Inference Pool. This basically treats your expensive GPU servers like VIPs. It means Istio can intelligently route traffic to them or even automatically take an unstable GPU offline if it starts throwing errors. Then you have Ambient Multicluster, which is crucial for running resilient AI across different data centers. And finally, that amazing observability means you can trace a complex AI request from the moment a user types something all the way to the database and back. This is exactly the kind of sophisticated control that large-scale AI desperately needs. When you look at Istio's whole journey from this super complex, resource-heavy beast to a more streamlined, AI-ready platform, it just shows you how incredibly resilient this project is. The tiger, it seems, is finally being tamed, and its next hunt just might be the entire world of AI.